question here states, why were books about the history of Islamic law written so late in history, as opposed to the earlier period in Islamic history? And that is simply because what we're studying right now, all these details, it was common knowledge among scholarship, to the point that it didn't need to be codified, condensed, synthesized, and then presented as its own separate subject. Because as time progresses, ignorance increases. And as ignorance increases, there's more of a need to explain things that were once understood. So this became one of those fields, and what was once common knowledge now needed to be explained in detail. And if you like, one pointer for taking notes, because you have your workbooks with you, is that, for example, there are a couple pages for each point that we're going to be learning in the notes. So maybe there's a particular word. Maybe there is a particular word or a particular concept that we're discussing. So maybe you just write that one word. Or maybe if it's in the workbook itself, you write the number 1 over that word. And then you write the number 1 in the lines where the notes are. Or you write that one term or phrase. And then you quickly write out the meaning of it, or the point that's being made with the concept, just enough of it so you can recall later. And if you're taking notes this way, if this makes sense, this is something that can allow you to kind of keep up with the lesson as it is taking place. Who was the Salaf that said, whoever does not humiliate himself for 1 hour, please reset, or please mention the rest of the quote. Whoever does not undergo the humiliation of seeking knowledge for 1 hour will not achieve any knowledge, will not achieve any knowledge, right? When we have to humble ourselves to knowledge, not even to the person per se, but to the knowledge itself, right? We want to get up and we want to go do something else, or maybe you're hungry or you're thirsty or whatever it is, right? You're getting bored, right? Boredom is a thing, focus, concentration, right? These are all skills that we build up by way of in seeking knowledge. But I would just say, as for who said it, I would just say right now, the Salaf, a Salaf, and we can review for a more definitive individual who made the quote. But this is a statement of the Salaf. The questioner is asking here, this looks like our brother Naeem. He's stating, can we get a copy of the in-depth definitions you are using moving forward? Well, for example, the history of Islamic law is right here in front of us, right on the screen, right on the screen. The definition of history of Tariq, Sharia, and of Islam, right here on the screen. And you also have these definitions in all of these notes. Everything that we're doing in the slide, you have access to it in the digital hard drive, right? So it's there. If you are asking for specific things that we're mentioning as we go, then if you mention some of those things to us, then we can reiterate them to you, because we're actually doing this live with you, and I can't necessarily forecast what's going to come out of my mind at a given time, right? We're doing this real time. So if there's a definition of something that comes to my mind, I want to be able to share with you. If you need to record it, ask me. I can repeat it so that you can record it if it's something that's not immediately mentioned in our notes. Another question here is stating, as knowledge is obligatory upon every Muslim, does this mean it is required for every Muslim to seek both proximal and distal knowledge, or is it distal knowledge an additional reward given to those who seek it? That is a profound and excellent question from our sister Sumaya. May Allah reward you ever so kindly for asking it this way. And it clearly shows that we're paying attention. And I appreciate that, because that also means that I'm not giving you all too much too fast, because you're following, you're tracking. Alhamdulillah. Okay. the obligation is not necessarily proximal knowledge or distal knowledge, not necessarily. However, if we're going to frame it the way that you asked it, then distal knowledge, generally speaking, is not obligatory, generally speaking. Distal knowledge can only become obligatory if you need it in order to get to something that is obligatory. At the point in time that you need it to get to something that is obligatory, then it becomes obligatory to learn it. But outside of that, no. Now, the meaning of the hadith, طَلَبُ الْعِلْمِ فَرِيضَةٌ عَلَى كُلِّ مُسْلِمٍ, seeking knowledge is obligatory upon every Muslim. The meaning of the hadith is that you yourself as an individual, you identify what you are in need of in order to practice your Islam. And then whatever you are in need of to practice your Islam, that's the knowledge that's obligatory upon you to have. Now, there's some knowledge across the board that what we are in need of is going to cross all of us. And there's others that is case scenarios, like the Salah. We can say all of us have to pray. All of us have to pray, right? So it's obligatory upon us to have knowledge of prayer, right? But if we add on to that and we say, well, to what level do you want your prayer to be? To what depth do you want to go into your prayer when you offer it? Then the depth of your prayer may require you additional obligation in order to get to that, right? But there's a base level, right, with regard to that. And there are other things, like we mentioned earlier, marriage, for example. Not everybody has to marry, not necessarily an obligation on everyone to marry, but if you choose to, then you need to have knowledge of that, for example. Wait, don't go anywhere yet. I appreciate you getting to the end of the video. I have a question for you. Do you have a desire in you to become a student of knowledge? Have you wanted to travel overseas or even get into an Islamic university, maybe even the Islamic University of Medina, but things didn't pan out for you? Maybe you wanted to learn the Arabic language, you learned some or none at all, and you just don't have the access that you need to get into the path of knowledge. Well, I have a gift for you. We have put together a program for you where we give you the experience that we had in the Islamic University of Medina, the actual courses in the Islamic University of Medina, remove all the barriers and just give you the experience. You don't have to know Arabic, you don't have to travel overseas, you don't have to get accepted in university. We are calling it the Medina Student Boot Camp. We give you that and so much more. This sounds like you? Click the link below. See you on the other side.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu. It's your brother Abu Aqil Shamsuddin. Barakallah Feek for this moment to give you my testimony regarding my experience with Aqil Institute. Where do I start? Alhamdulillah. In my journey to be a serious student of knowledge, I went to different programs and alhamdulillah, I benefited, well, mashallah. So I had went to the imam about a question. It was actually a fiqh question. And at the end of the question, he told me about a program, which we're currently in, for Muhammadan now. And mashallah, I have a greater love and respect for ilm, fiqh, and all the various sciences in Islam. I believe that from what I know of Aqil Institute, that it's an ability for, young, beginning, intermediary, and maybe some seasoned Talibul Ilm, students of knowledge, that can build upon the foundations that they have already had. I'm aware that in the program they'll be offering sessions on Aqidah, fiqh and its principles, the science of tafsir, Quran, hadith and its sciences, the seerah, and other types of programs geared towards strengthening and perfecting one's Islamic etiquette, is adab, and personal development. I know he mentioned something about the Arabic. MashaAllah, that I hope, I pray Allah allows him to add that to the program, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.